Are we ready to roll? We're ready to roll? Cool.
All right, Cameron Cox.
What happened today?
Well, Cam, as you know, there's a big news out there that the NFL has suspended the Arizona Cardinals all-pro safety Patrick Peterson for 6 games for violating the league's performance-enhancing drug policy. And so here we sit. Patrick Peterson will miss the first 6 games as a result. Now, keep in mind, during his 8-year career, which started in 2011 as a 5th overall pick, in the first round, he's never missed a game. Never. So,
it's a shame, Coop. Yeah. It's a shame that it has to happen this way. Well, your first reaction to this was what? Like when you first heard this news, where were you? And what was your reaction? I'm at home, but here's my position. I'm just never shocked by anything I hear relative to professional athletes. I mean, we've just seen it too many times. Look, Patrick Peterson isn't the first player that's been busted for PED use, and he won't be the last. And so when I heard the news, it's like, oh darn, that's a big loss for the Cardinals. But certainly not surprised by what takes place, because I mean, I've learned over my 30-plus years here in covering sports that. Never be surprised by anything you see in athletics. Yeah, just because you never know what's going to happen. The surprising part to me was just hearing the name Patrick Peterson involved in another controversy, Coop. I mean, it just seems like controversy maybe is too strong of a word. Drama. I think drama is a great word. Since last October, Coop, it's just been something else and something else. And I like Patrick Peterson. I've always been a big Patrick Peterson fan. He's treated us with great respect. We've always had a great relationship with Patrick Peterson. We've been out to his car shows, been out to all his golf tournaments. He's always been first class with us, always willing to divulge information, tell us the truth, be straight with us. But it just seems like since October, there's been another thing.
Let's go over it, because see, you may call it drama, but it's nothing that we haven't seen before. The man asked for a trade, right?
He did. It was not happening.
Let me ask you. Is that the first time you ever heard a star player, any player, ask for a trade?
No.
Okay.
Totally.
Now we also
kick the feet out from under Steve Wilkes with that. It just disrupts an entire new regime.
Midway through the man's season. In the midst of the worst season the Cardinals have ever had here in Arizona. He's frustrated. Yeah. He doesn't want to be a part of a team that's, look, at his age, he's not looking for a ring. So I didn't blame him at all for wanting out. The situation looked bad. It looked dire. As a losing situation, he wants to get into a better situation. Yeah. Now, I had no problem. Now, we also heard that he wanted his contract negotiated.
He wanted more money. There are some quarterbacks out there that want more money.
Let me ask you this. Have you ever heard of an athlete, professional or otherwise, that
want more money? Yeah. When they see other guys make more money, he makes more. He wants to make more money. But he has 2 years, as you always point out, he has 2 years left on that contract. So the Cardinals flat out told him, and this was always a telling line from Patrick Peterson back in October, was when he was talking to us, he goes, we asked him his relationship with Michael Bidwell, and he basically, hey, Mr. Bidwell told me how it is. I'm here for 2 more years. It's a done deal. Enough said. Which means the Cardinals told him, hey, A, we're not trading you, and B, we're not giving you more money, so suit up and play. That's basically what they told him.
Because why can't the Cardinals have the leverage? Yeah. And so, right thing, go ahead. So now let's fast forward to today. There was a report that Patrick Peterson was looking to get his contract renegotiated again to help cover the $3 to $4 million that he will lose with this suspension. Yep. Look, I don't buy that any way, shape, or form.
Why is that?
Because we're talking about a man who's made about $100 million in his career. And this mistake is his and his alone. Yeah. And so you're going to tell me that he wants to renegotiate to cover $3 to $4 million? Dude, that's like me going up to my boss if I got ticketed for $250 for a speeding ticket. Hey, I want you to redo my deal. So, I mean, look, that's stupid. It makes no sense.
So I somewhat agree with you with that. Let's catch everybody up on kind of what Coop is talking about. The other drama that's been involved with P2 recently is, 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago? Recently, Patrick Peterson released a bunch of cryptic tweets, Instagram posts too as well. He removed all mentions of the Cardinals off his social media. In some of those Instagram posts, he said there were snakes in the grass. I had heard that he felt disrespected by something that was told to him by the Cardinals front office. So something was said to Patrick Peterson that kind of sent him off. The report that Coop is talking about is that the report out today that said this is why he was upset because the Cardinals could not rework his contract to make sure he doesn't lose that money. If that's the case, which I highly doubt it, because I don't know how you ask that to your boss with a straight face, knowing you're about to be suspended for PED use.
I don't believe that report.
It's just tough to kind of wrap your head around. I don't know how.
It's not tough for me because I find it foolhardy. I just don't find
knowing Patrick Peterson like you and I do. I don't think he would do something like that. There's just no way you can go to your management and ask them to rework a few $1 million just because you're about to lose it.
Dude, we're not talking about $20 million, $30 million, or $50 million.
$3 to $4 million.
To a man who's made over $100 million in his career. Stop it.
There's just more to the story. That's what I want to hear from Patrick Peterson today. We are going to talk to P2 today at his charity event to see.
We hope we do.
We hope we do, actually. It's crazy that all this broke today because Patrick Peterson is scheduled to have his charity event this weekend. His gala / welcoming party for everybody is tonight. And then his golf tournament is this weekend, too, as well. So we are expected to hear from Patrick Peterson. But that's one of the things I want to ask Patrick Peterson directly. What is his story behind this? Because that report out today, I just don't know how you get there. I don't know how you do that unless there's more to the story.
Cam,
he has to have something.
Cam, you skip over some very important deals.
Go ahead.
Now, the man asked for a trade back in October.
He did.
But at the Waste Management Phoenix Open, the man apologized to Cardinal Nation for even demanding a trade.
I talked to him moments after that, and he said it was something he felt on his heart, something he had to say. And I believed him full-heartedly.
Absolutely.
And then we've met with him since then, Cooper, remember?
Yeah, Cam, you talked about these cryptic messages. Now, what you're leaving out is there are reports out there from players, a player saying that the Cardinals were trying to trade him. So when he refers to snakes in the grass, it's just natural for me to assume that he thinks the Cardinals have gone behind his back and are trying to trade him. Now, it later came out, one of the players apologized and said, hey, I was given bad information. But that.
So we don't know exactly what the issue
So to
is.
me, all of that was valid. I wouldn't be, I don't blame him for being upset because you thought everything was cool. The boss already told you back in October, we're not trading you, we value you, we're going to keep you. And then all of a sudden you're hearing your name in trade talks. Well, yeah, he kind of felt like that. So I'm sure he made a phone call and they talked. Now, during that conversation, I'm sure some things that were said that he didn't appreciate, and so he got upset. So, but that does not in any way validate him coming to the Cardinals saying, hey, I want to renegotiate my contract because I got busted for PED.
We hope not.
And I want to cover that loss. Dude,
we hope not.
Dude, he didn't do that.
We hope
Patrick Peterson, I know, is not that small and not that petty. I've known the man since he entered this league in 2011. I've done many stories with the guy.
Just like
you talked about, we just talked with him just recently at one of his car shows.
We saw it at his car show. He was so
that.
You know, that was what's so crazy, Coop. You and I spent about an hour with him. We walked around that entire car show. We met his was that his sister? His little sister was selling lemonade out there. Right. He was so excited about this year. He was so excited to be here in the Valley. He even brought up the Phoenix Open at one point and apologizing. And, he talked to every fan who was out there about this year. I mean, Patrick Peterson just mingling among people who brought their cars out there, Coop. To see how all this has transpired over the week is just tough to watch because you knew it seemed like his heart was in this. Something set this man off. Something set this situation off. And it sounds like it all started with this suspension. Now you just don't know what exactly happened next. And that's what we're going to find out today with Patrick Peterson. Was it the trade talks? Did that set you off to begin with? Was it something management said?
Cam,
did he, Coop, to post something like he did, something set this man off. He posted on social media. So was it the trade talks, or was it something that was said to him by management? Remember, I was told that something disrespectful was said to him, or was it the fact that the Cardinals wouldn't rework his deal? These are all questions we need to find out from Patrick Peterson today.
Something said disrespectful to him after the trade talks.
After the trade talk, after the trade rumors. Rumors came out on social media.
There you go. He's upset because he thinks the Cardinals are going behind his back. But Cam.
Or did he know at the time that this suspension was coming?
Well, he did. Look. Here's the deal.
It's a timeline we all have to figure out.
Now I talked with a former player who now works for the NFL league in New York. Now I asked him a few things, and one of those was about the timeline relative to suspensions. This is what he told me. All players are tested once a year for street drugs unless they've already currently violated that issue. All players are subjected to one test of PEDs, but PED testing is random. So just because you were tested once doesn't mean you won't be tested again during the year. Now,
you hear players talk about that all the time in the locker room.
Every player is allowed to appeal his test, his so-called positive test.
Which, according to Adam Schefter, Patrick Peterson did and then dropped his appeal.
And so if he's dropped the appeal,
which means he failed the test.
Well, Cam, he's acknowledging that by him dropping that. Now, look, if you want to play now we've seen players during a season who get popped for PED use. And they will play out the suspensions so they can finish the season
and then appeal
and then we come. But with Patrick Peterson, there's no reason to believe that. The Cardinals say they were aware of this about a month ago. So Peterson was notified. Let's say that he got tested in February, and he was notified in March. Well, now he can appeal that if he wants to, but if he realizes that it's not going to go anywhere, he can drop that appeal, and now that suspension will be enforced. So Patrick Peterson knows that whatever he was doing, he's guilty of it. So he's not the type of guy that's going to go out and blame anybody else for his own bad, and I just don't believe for such a small amount that he's going to go and ask for his contract to be renegotiated and then get all bent out of shape when the Cardinals say no. No.
That would be against the Patrick Peterson.
Yeah, if he wants this contract renegotiated, he wants to renegotiate it because he doesn't feel that he feels that the market has changed and he's no longer the highest paid player, but not for some.
If you read through the NFL, the drug policy and how the suspensions work, 4 games is for a first-time offender, which is what Patrick Peterson is. He got an extra 2 games essentially for using a masking agent or trying to cover it up, one of the two. That's where we get.
That's collectively bargained.
Yeah, that's in the collective bargaining agreement. So that's how we get the 6 games, folks, is that 4 games for a first-time user and the extra 2 because he tried to cover it up in a way. It's just tough to wrap your head around, Coop. Here's what's so different about Patrick Peterson. So we've seen Von Miller go through something like this, right? We've seen Julian Edelman go through something like this. They've all moved past the performance-enhancing drug label that goes around a player who gets busted for something like this. You don't mention that when you talk about Von Miller anymore. You don't mention that when you talk about Julian Edelman anymore. The only problem with Patrick Peterson is this is one of the first cases where a player who's been around this much drama in the last 10 months has also been busted for PEDs. That's the tough part to really wrap your head around.
Let me ask you this.
Is that just kind of the first situation we've seen?
Why is asking for a trade during the middle of one of the worst seasons or asking for a contract?
If that's what Patrick Peterson feels like he needs to do, then that's what he feels like he needs to do. That's up to him, the person. I'll never get mad at a player for wanting to get theirs. Good for him if he wants to get out. But I'm saying is we haven't seen a situation like this involving this kind of star player where this much has happened in the last 10 months, and here we are again with something else. I hope there's more to the story, and I hope Patrick sets us straight something tonight.
Let me tell you where I stand. Someone asking for a trade, nothing new. Charles Barkley asked for that. Somebody asking for a trade, a renegotiated contract. So many people do that. But it's not even funny.
Did Barkley follow that up with cryptic messages 6 months later and then getting busted for performance-enhancing drugs a month later?
Why do you keep going back to the cryptic messages? Because those cryptic messages came after his name was mentioned in trade talks.
So
he feels like he's been violated.
I'm just saying, but when you say there's snakes in the grass, that's taking a shot at somebody.
And Cam, what can't you wrap your head around? If someone tells you we're not trading you, we value you, and then you see 6 months later your name is being mentioned in trade talks, do you feel like somebody's a snake or somebody's done something wrong?
As I said earlier, was it directed towards the trade talks? Was it something else, or was it the suspension? We have to put together this timeline, and Patrick needs to come out and say something about this timeline.
This PED use is the worst thing associated with his name. Asking for a trade, asking for a contract negotiation is not mud, it's not dirt, it's not bad. But this PED use, it's bad. That's where if you want to call drama, that's drama. That's dirt. That's mud. That's, to me, is where the first really bad look for Patrick Peterson has come. Not any of this other stuff that you want to mention. I think it's just so small potatoes to me.
What's next? Who they got? What's next?
What's next? Well,
we're going to talk to Patrick Peterson.
What's next is the Cardinals going to say Byron Murphy, our rookie second-round pick. You get the first crack at trying to replace Patrick Peterson in the starting lineup for these 6 games. Now, I fully expect that
Robert Alford too as well.
No, Robert Alford's already going to be started at the other corner. So more pressure now is going to be placed upon the rookie Byron Murphy because the Cardinals aren't going to have him for 6 games. But this is what I fully expect. Patrick Peterson is a pro. Matter of fact, he's been called by some of the players in this league the best corner in the league.
He's the best cornerback.
I expect him to come back in Week 7 and play like Patrick Peterson has always played. Nothing changes from that standpoint. But I just feel that the fact that we're talking about this man wanting his contract renegotiated to cover the $3 or $4 million that he's going to lose for suspension. It just sounds very petty and doesn't sound like anybody that I've known for the past 8 years.
It doesn't sound like the Patrick Peterson I know, but I want to know more of the story. I want to know his side because, like I said earlier, you can't ask that. If he did, which we have no idea of, that's just the report out there.
I don't believe it.
If he did, you can't ask that to your employer with a straight face unless you have a story behind it, and it better be a damn good one if that's the case.
Cam, if he did that, there is no excuse. There's no reason he can come up with. It's just bad. But that's not the Peterson that I know, and I don't think that ever happened. But I do believe that at his event tonight, that Patrick Peterson will say something. He'll talk about it. But what more can he say other than that? I made a mistake. He's got to live up to the mistake he made. He made a mistake.
Well, the mistake the mistake is, I think, obvious. So he's obviously, whenever he decides to address that,
he's got to own up to that.
He's got to own up to that. But what needs to happen next is now he needs to put this timeline into perspective. He needs to, what exactly happened? What's triggered you in the first place? Was it the trade talks? Was it something that was said? We need to get to the bottom of those questions. We need to get his side of the story to see what has happened. Because remember, we've talked to Cliff Kingsbury, and I asked Cliff Kingsbury point blank, do you see Patrick Peterson a member of this roster moving forward? And Cliff Kingsbury said, no doubt. I asked him, what's the problem? There's no problem. All these workouts are voluntary. Patrick Peterson's not going to be with us. He's not going to be here. This would kind of add up to it. If the suspension is kind of accurate, maybe he doesn't have to be there. But Cliff Kingsbury said multiple times that he knows where Patrick is. He knows what Patrick is doing. They have talked to Patrick. Things are fine according to him. Okay. And he fully expects Peterson to be
what's the problem?
The problem is there are just other questions to be answered. There are other timeline events. Coop, there are other timeline events to be answered, and that's what we need to get to the bottom of today.
We've already been over that. Your timeline and your drama is that the man asked for a trade and that the man wanted his contract renegotiated. Dude, that's so commonplace in all levels of sports. I mean, there's no drama there.
When it involves your top cornerback, your best player on your team.
It doesn't matter if
there's some drama there.
I've heard there's quarterbacks who are the most valuable player on their team that ask for contracts renegotiations. Star players you act like this is breaking news. It's nothing new under the sun. What is new and what is bad is his PEDs.
Yes.
And he has to answer to that and has to step up.
When you send out something on social media that says there are snakes in the grass and you're alluding to management, come on.
People,
come on.
Help this dude.
Help this dude.
Help. We keep going back over the same thing. We keep going back over the same thing.
For those of you who don't know, this is how Coop and I talk to each other all day.
Unbelievable.
We yell at each other all day in the office. I love this man to death.
But here's what you need to know, people, is that just like you're hearing today, he keeps regurgitating the same thing. I give him an obvious explanation as to why this could be, but he doesn't see. He wants it to be drama.
I'm just not jumping to conclusions.
Jumping to conclusions. That's all you do.
I'm just saying I want answers to certain events that have happened, and then I'll make my statement. Like you said, this is not the Patrick Peterson we know. He's not that petty, and he's never been like that. So I just want to know his story. There is a story behind it, and I want to know Patrick Peterson's story. So I'm interested to find that out today. The failed drug test is inexcusable. Is he even a captain next year? That's the next question we ask. How can he wear a C when this is the kind of mistakes you're making? What is his future with the Cardinals? Do they even want him a part of this team now? That's another question.
People, listen to what I'm telling you. There's a guy named Julian Edelman who got 6 games this past season. You know what he did? Wound up being a star in the frickin' Super Bowl 53. Did they get rid of a good player? No. Cam thinks that the Cardinals would get rid of this guy.
I just said these are all valid questions to ask.
Look, you're not in the habit of getting rid of good players.
I hope not.
And the guy's a good player.
Steve Collins said that before.
Look. He made a mistake for his PED use, or he got busted using it. Now he's got to pay. He's got to pay the piper for it. It means a 6-game suspension without pay.
Yeah.
So that's the penalty. We've seen Von Miller, another All-Pro with the Denver Broncos, undergo the same thing. Look, PED use in the NFL, it doesn't carry the same stigma that it does in Major League Baseball.
There's a lot of people in the NFL that believe a lot of players do this.
Cam, I would concur. Yeah. I would concur. And so a lot of the players who use this, not necessarily for performance and to be a better player, but to recover quickly from injury. And that's what the guy was telling me in New York, the former player in New York. That's what a lot of players use it for. They're hurt, they're injured, and they try to use this to get back quicker. But either way, it's in the league bylaws. If you get busted, you got to pay the price.
And if
he got busted, Patrick Peterson got
2 more games on top of that.
Patrick Peterson got busted for his crime, and he's got to pay the piper.
That is what we know today, guys. Coop, what we got coming up later today?
We got you going out to Patrick Peterson's golf tournament to talk to him and ask Patrick Peterson, Peterson, why did you go to the Cardinals to ask for more money? Was it really because you wanted to cover that $3 million you're going to lose in your PED suspension? That's what you're going to do.
My number one question to Pat is, what is his story? What does he have to say? Period. That's what I want to know, and then we'll go from there for Patrick Peterson. There's a lot to ask. There's a lot to get to. This story is only starting. The implications will be huge with the Cardinals moving forward. I need to shave too as well.
Hey, let me ask you this.
We just got to work.
Hey, can I ask you this?
Can we get lunch? Can
let me ask you this. Can we cut this, because I badly need to go upstairs and call this guy a moron, an idiot, all the things that I usually call him.
Yeah. It's not even 1:30 yet.
I know.
And we're already. All right, we got to go eat. Thanks for joining us, guys. We'll see you today on 12 News 4, 5, 6, and